Write down heading accounting for labor. Write down heading accounting for labor. Right. So today we're going to discuss about the labor costing and how to account the labor. This is not that big, right? It's a small topic, right? So once I finish this, I'll stop the class. Accounting for overhead. Anyone studied in your schools? +2, +3? No, right? All are commerce. But you didn't study. Okay, fine, good. Right, okay. Actually, in Sri Lankan syllabus, the entire F2 and the entire F1 is there in +2. So the students who are coming to do ACCA, we finish financial accounting within 30 hours because they know everything. Okay, only revision we do. Management accounting, most 90% it's there, including labor, everything. Okay, that's why I ask. Okay, so accounting for labor. See here, if I take labor cost, we studied cost classification, right? Madhi, what happened to Sugi? Huh? Okay, fine. Right. If I take cost classification, we studied there are different types of cost, right? Based on the nature, based on the behavior, based on the content, we differentiate cost. Okay. So based on the behavior, how we classify the cost? Can you remember? So like under that classification, we studied based on the behavior, not behavior, based on the nature, direct cost and indirect cost. What is direct cost?
Included in the production.
Yeah, exactly. You can identify from the final output. Direct cost are the cost which is identifiable from the final output. Indirect cost, which are not identifiable from the final. So today we are going to discuss about the labor. Labor also we can classify as direct labor and indirect labor. So if I take the organizations, factory or wherever, there are staff, there are laborers who directly contributing to final output. Those laborers we call, the labor cost we call direct labor cost. There are people who support, not directly involved, like factory manager, supervisor, right? Those people's labor cost is indirect cost, right? So here, see, the direct labor makes a part of prime cost. Is it clear? Direct labor cost is a part of prime cost and indirect labor is a part of overhead cost. Clear? Right. Now do this question, example number 1. What is the answer? Which of the following should be classified as a direct labor? Supervisor's salary in a factory. Supervisor's salary? Indirect labor and go to production overhead. Clear? Maintenance workers looking after the equipment in a hospital. Maintenance worker. Direct or indirect? Indirect. Bricklayers in a house or building company. That is direct. Very good. Genius. Wages of cleaning and housekeeping personnel. Indirect. So correct answer is C. Correct answer is C. In your exercise book, write down under that heading overtime and overtime premium. Overtime and overtime premium. Overtime and overtime premium. That write down. When employees worked more than required hours. When employees worked more than required hours. Why these things are not there in the statistics? Is it there? They are, right? It's not there? There, right? What is it?
Required hours.
More than required hours. Employees are eligible to employees are eligible to overtime payment. Employees are eligible to overtime payment. Overtime payment. Example. A worked 12 hours per week. A worked how many hours? 12 hours per week. Standard weekly hours. Standard weekly hours. 8 hours. So per week, how many hours he should work? 8 hours. Maybe he's a part-time employee or part-time shift basis worker. Per week, 8 hours only. How many hours he worked? 12 hours. Right? So 4 hours qualified for overtime payment. 4 hours qualified for overtime payment. Okay. Normally, when we are making overtime payment, we pay more than basic rate. Yes or no? Otherwise, they won't work, right? Got my point. So let's take. I am unable to complete the session. Your class is fine, right? Let's take AAA recording, right? Advanced audition assurance. So already, if I think I did almost 90 hours, right? Another 30 to 40 hours I need to do. Total 130 to 40 hours. Let's take like that. So I'm leaving by Friday, right? So before that, if I unable to complete, what I'll do is after your class, 9 o'clock, right? So I'll start from 9 and I'll do up to late night, 1 or 2 o'clock, sometime 3 o'clock, right? So I completely do 1 or 2 days to finish it off the remaining. Okay. So if I do like that, someone should be here, right? You got my point what I'm saying? Understood. So if I'm doing like that, let's take I'm doing recording up to early morning 3:34, right? So someone should be staying here. Then their working time up to 9:30 only. After that, if they are staying, company should pay an overtime. Yes or no? And if the company is paying an overtime as their basic rate, if these people work from let's take 11 to 9:30, during that time how many hours he work? Let's take 8 hours per hour, 200 rupees. That is their basic rate. If that person stayed in the late night also 200 hours, will he stay? No, right? So normally when it comes to overtime, we pay more than basic. During the time it is 2 hours, 200 rupees means if he work overtime, company will give 300 rupees. Normally basic and the half. Basic how much? 200. Half how much? 100. So 300 will be given for 1 hour. So they motivated and they willing to take that overtime opportunity. Understood? Is it clear? And Christmas. Let's take in this class no Christians. All are Hindus and Muslims or whatever the community. Right? No Christians. So do I need to cancel the class on Christmas? No need, right? Because Christmas you are not celebrating. Okay? But let's take all the staff. Most of them are Christians. Right? So if I keep class on Christmas, it's a holiday, right? If someone wants to come, right? If I'm doing the lecture, then that person is eligible for overtime. When he accept that overtime opportunity, if he get more than the normal rate. Is it clear? So take a separate color pen and write down second point. When an employee works overtime, entity should pay more than entity should pay more than basic pay. Entity should pay more than basic pay. Generally, the overtime payment rate is 1.5 times higher than basic rate. It's 1.5 times higher than basic rate. Now concentrate. This person worked 12 hours. Yes or no? This person worked 12 hours. So I'll take A. I'll give time to copy. Just concentrate. A. How many hours he worked? 12 hours. Okay. A's normal hours how much? Normal hours? 8 hours. So 8 hour multiplied, let's say per hour 10. So how much he is getting for normal hours? 80. Is it clear? This is his normal payment. Overtime premium. How we call? Overtime premium. Overtime premium is a combination of overtime payment. There's a small wording problem. Now, concentrate. A worked how many hours? How many hours?
12 hours.
Is it clear? Normal hours 8 hours. Per hour how much? This is also not clear. Per hour 10. Total 80. Clear? Overtime payment. How many hours we should pay overtime? 4 hours. This overtime payment includes concentrate. Overtime payment includes basic payment plus correct. Basic payment plus overtime premium. Correct. You got my point? I said 1.5, right? 1.5 times higher than the basic. Okay. Fine. In this particular example, what is your basic rate per hour? 10. Premium how much? Premium should be 1.5, right? This is basic is 1 and the half how much? 5. You got my point? So if overtime payment is 1.5, 1 means basic and the half is the premium. You got my point? I'm saying. Understood? So when he works overtime 4 hours, 4 multiplied by 10 plus 4 multiplied by 5. So 40 plus 20, 60. 8 hours he worked and he earned how much? 80. 8 hours he worked and earned how much? How much, Sugi? 4 hours he worked overtime and he received how much? Understood? I said 1.5. What it means? Basic and the half. Premium and the basic. Together we call overtime payment. You got my point? Is this example understood? Now don't take a conclusion like this, huh? Sir, premium 1.5. I'm not saying premium. Overtime payment is computed 1.5. Basic plus the premium. Right? Premium means how much you are paying more than basic. Basic is 10. How much you are paying more than basic? 5. Half generally. Understood? Understood?
Understood.
Clear? Now I'll give you an example, another example. Just try to find out the answer. Sugi? Clear? Understood? So question 2. Sugi, it's not you. You thought I'm giving a question. Right. I said a name of the person, say Sugi. And you are saying it is not Sugi Sugu. You thought that I'm writing your name. You understood, right? What I mean? It's not your name. Now is it clear? Okay, you want to keep your name here? Then I can write Sugu. Okay, fine, right? Sugi works 55 hours 55 hours per week. As per employment contract, as per employment contract, 8 hours per day, comma, 5 days per week, she should work. She should work. How many days? 5 days. How many hours per day? 8. How many hours she work? 55. Basic rate 50 rupee per hour. Basic rate 50 rupee per hour. Question. Compute total wages paid to Sugi. Do this question. Finished. What is your answer? 3125. I got one answer 3125. 3125. 3125. 3125. Online students? Okay. Sugi? Sugu. Sugi, it's like this. Question?
No, sir.
Okay. Say 55 hours she worked. Standard hours, how many hours per week? 8 hours, 5 days, total 40 hours. For this we need to make the payment, right? The basic rate is 50. So how much? कितना है? 2000. Madi, correct? Very good. This is about your normal payment, basic payment. I use the word normal payment. Technical term we call it as basic pay at standard rate. How we call this? Basic pay at standard rate. Now let's come to overtime side, right? How many overtime hours? So 55 minus 40, overtime hours 15 hours. Overtime payment include basic payment plus overtime premium. Basic payment plus overtime premium. Okay. So if I take the basic how much? 15 multiplied by 50. Premium 15 multiplied by
20.
how much?
25.
25. They didn't mention anything, huh? Therefore, 1.5. Some questions they might say 1.7 times. Some questions they might say 1.3 times. Right. I'll tell you the rationale. If I take Arivu, right, overtime requirement is very rare. Yes or no? Someone came like me only, they will get overtime. That case, 1.5 should pay more. Some organizations overtime, like the industries like milk, dairy industry, and industries like clothing, right? Always they have overtime. In that case, if you pay 1.5 times, too high. So we pay how much? 1.3, 1.2 like. Okay. So what is the value? 15 into 50. 15 into 50, how much?
750.
15 into 25,
370.
total.
1125.
So overtime payment how much? 1125. Total amount paid how much? 2000 plus 1125 equals 3125. Is it clear? Sugu understood? Madhu understood? Raghu understood? Kavi understood? Kishore understood? Copy this. Online students, is it clear? Now concentrate. I'm going to teach a principle here. Concentrate. I'm not going to talk about normal payment. Huh? That is, you know, right, how to compute. I'm going to talk about overtime payment. Concentrate, don't write. Huh? Sugi? பரவாயில்ல நல்ல right. Madhi, overtime payment equals
Basic payment plus
basic pay plus
overtime payment.
overtime premium. Copy this. Copy this. Right. Now concentrate. Now concentrate. Basic payment. Basic payment. This basic payment comes under overtime payment also. It is comes under normal standard amount also. Yes or no? Yes or no? See here previous example. Normal standard time also we took. Here also we took. Yes or no? Understood? Always basic pay is direct labor. Always basic pay is what? Direct labor. So the basic pay comes under overtime payment. Basic pay comes under the normal hours calculation, standard rate calculation. It is always direct labor. Understood? Understood? Copy this first. Copy this first. Basic pay is always direct labor. Clear? Sugi, overtime premium, direct or indirect? Why?
company requires to work for a specific job, it will be a time.
Where you studied? You read this one book? Actually, yeah. Tell. No, just I'm asking.
Yeah, I did. I have to already spend half I did students.
Ah, okay, very good. Because normally students won't realize that first. Genius. Right, that's why I ask. Without studying, if you can remember that those students are. Even I got shocked. Very good. But still, you remember, right? That's very good. Because our students always. Okay. Mati, OT premium. You listen, right? What he said. Now tell me. Both directly. Why? Yeah. Yes. He said direct and indirect. And I asked why. He said no, sir. Why you asking again from me? It's like this. Let's take for Sugi, right? Sugu. So Sugu's marriage. Okay. So when Sugu going to get married, right? Need to do room set and all, right? You all know here also room set we call, right? Room set. Room set means what I can say a cupboard and okay, right. For the room new in Sri Lanka we put furnitures, new furniture for that room. Okay. Here, okay, fine. In Sri Lanka, when someone is going to get married, we put the entire things new for that room. Okay, we call that as room set. Okay, so now let's take especially for women, not females, not for males. So it's better to take one of these people rather than because his face is like this. Okay, it is not appropriate to take him also. Fine, I'll take one of you, right? Because normally for me, I didn't get any room set. For my sisters only, I'm doing room sets, right? So if I normally when we are doing for room set, right, for our sisters or else you guys, who decide the requirement? Bride. He will tell exact the requirement. I need a three door cupboard, right? The bed should be like this, right? And but there are a lot of things I can't remember the name also, right? So like jewelry, who decide the requirement? Bride. Likewise, the room set also the requirement come from whom? The bride. Okay. Now, if my sister gave a requirement and I communicate that requirement to whom? The furniture making fellow. And he started to work. Okay. Then suddenly the marriage date not postponed. If it is postponed, that's good. Right, the marriage date is let's take January 20th. We initially planned, and I communicate I need this bedroom set by January 10th. Right? Then time and date changed. Not 20th. December 2nd. December 2nd. Now I am moving to the same place. The furniture provider, supplier. And I said, I need the room set by November 28th. When I gave November 24th, within 4 days I need. When I'm telling like this, that fellow will look at me like, right. But I said, I'm ready to pay at any amount. I need by November 28th. And he said, 28th we can't, but I'll give you by 1st of December. Right. That is also okay for me, right? At least. Right. Do I need to pay more or do I need to pay less?
More.
Obviously, I should pay more, right? What he will do is, all 24 hours he work. He will recruit new people, overtime basis. The people who are working, do more, I'll give more money, do work. So, when there is an overtime requirement arise, based on a specific requirement of the customer. When overtime arises, based on the specific requirement of the customer, Then overtime premium is direct labor. You understood my example? It is a specific requirement from whom? Customer. Then overtime premium is what? Direct labor. Is it understood? My example understood? So it's my specific requirement. Because of my requirement only that overtime arised. Otherwise, standard working days 20 days. You understood what I'm saying? Copy this. Now, okay, copied. Now, I gave 20 days. That is not my requirement. He accept more work, 20 days, 20 days, 20 days. He accept more work. Right? Can he ask more money from the customers? No, right? That is a normal overtime requirement. You got my point? You got my point? That is a normal overtime requirement. When the normal overtime requirement arised as a part of normal business, normal overtime requirement, then it is treated as indirect labor. It is treated as indirect labor. Then it is treated as indirect labor. Sugi understood? Madhi understood? Raghu understood? You are clear? Good. Is it clear explanation? Clear? Example number 2 and example number 3. Do it. Example number 2 and example number 3. Do it. Vienna is a direct labor employee. You need to consider that also. Huh? Is a direct labor employee who works standard 35 hours per week. So total 35 hours per week. And paid basic rate 12 per hour. Basic rate is 12 per hour. Overtime is paid at a time and a third. Time and a third, not time and a half. 1 week, sorry, in week 8, she worked 42 hours. Total 42 hours she worked and received 50 bonus. 50 bonus. Now consider. Basic pay for standard hours. How many standard hours? How many standard hours? 35 hours multiplied by 12. How much? Who is 420? 420. Sugi? Same, right? 35 multiplied by 12, how much? 420. Direct labor or indirect labor? It is direct labor. Very good. Genius. Super. Basic pay of overtime. See, total how many hours? 42 hours. Minus standard hours how much? 35 hours. So, extra hours how much? 7 hours. So, 7 hours multiplied by 12. How much? Direct or indirect? Overtime premium. Overtime hours how much? 7 hours. Multiplied by overtime premium. Premium how much? 1/3 of 12. You got my point? 1/3 of 12. I told you, right? Don't always take 1.5. Right. Sugi, how much? 1/3 of 12, how much? 1/3 of 12 is 4. Right, he's searching calculator. Right. 1/3 of 12 is 4 into 7, how much? 28. Direct or indirect? Direct or indirect? 28. Copy. So 7 multiplied by 4. How I got this 4? 1/3 of 12. It's given. Bonus is apart from overtime. See, I'll tell you a situation like this. In Sri Lanka, like same Arivu, we have a separate organization for us, okay? And we directly import books from the UK and we need to give it to students, right? Not like here, the number of students are very high, okay? So normally once we get the container, right, the books may be 80,000 books, 90,000 books, bulk we get for one session. When books comes, the staff face like this. Why? Because it's the 4-story building, right? And the warehouse is there, 4th floor. Okay, you need to carry the entire books from down to 4th floor. You got my point? Fine. So what they will do is lift is there, but the problem is you cannot take it through the lift. Right? You cannot take it through the lift because the lift is not big like this, very small. Right? And the lift is outsourced to a third party maintenance. Their agreement is only staff. Oh, the humans can travel. Right? You can't take goods. If something happens, they won't give the warranty. Right? So the condition is that. Then normally, if it is the books comes in the daytime, they don't feel happy. Why?
No extra pay.
No extra pay, right? Understood? If books comes after, in Sri Lanka, the working time is 7:30 in the morning to 4:30 evening. Lecture starts at 7 o'clock and lectures finish at 4:30. So 7 to 4:30 is the schedule, working time. Bangalore, it's 11:30 to 9, right? People depends. Okay. So here, there it's 7 to 4:30. After 4:30, if book comes, they happy. Why? They will get overtime. And be frank, when books comes, they are working very effectively. If they delay it slowly, if they carry it, right, they can get more, right? Within 2-3 hours, they will finish everything. Why? Because normally I need to stand there for after 4:30 to, if book comes at 6 o'clock, I need to be there until 9:10. Right? If they are extending like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I need to stay there. Right? And then I need to go home. So for Colombo to Kandy, it's almost 158 kilometers. So I need to travel 158 kilometers. Right? What I said was, okay, I'll give you additional bonus. Do it soon. If you finish this work by 9 o'clock, additional bonus will be given. You got my point what I'm saying? That's how this bonus comes in. There is an overtime work, and if you want to get that work done quickly, right? So you ready to give an additional bonus. You got my point? Always this additional bonus is a indirect cost. You got my point? You got my point? The example understood? Now you understood why they are giving bonus apart from overtime? Yes or no? So overtime bonus, how much bonus they are paying? 50, right? Direct or indirect?
Indirect.
Indirect. Copy this. Rational understood? Now, example number 3, try out. Example number 3, try out. It's not an easy question. Read carefully and do it. Do you know the meaning of the term called idle?
It is not.
Yes, exactly. Break time that I'm giving, right? I get paid. For that 20 minutes, I get paid. But I'm not working here. That's why I'm not extending break time, because it is costly for the organization. 20 minutes, it's get paid, but I'm not work. That is what I did. I'm not producing anything. I'm not supporting to organization, but I get paid. Right? Make it like this. Question, make it. I'll cover everything together like this. Calculate the direct cost. Direct cost. Calculate indirect cost. Direct cost and indirect cost. Make it like that. It's very easy. But let's do this question. Example number 3. Example number 3. And in the question they ask direct cost and indirect cost. First, we'll find out basic time. What is basic time? The basic hours he worked. Okay. So basic, how much total hours? How many workers? 40 workers. How many hours they worked?
38 hours per week.
38
Hours.
hours per week. How many week?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Calculate this amount first. 6,080 hours. 6,080 hours. How many of you all got this answer? Very good. Total hours, how much? Total hours, how much? 6,528 hours. Overtime hours, now I am going to calculate. Overtime hours, now I am going to calculate. 6,528 hours minus 6,080 hours. So overtime hours, how much? 448 hours. 448 hours. Is it clear? Is it clear? In the question they said, if you move to the question, in the question they said, overtime which is paid at a premium 35%, okay, production, okay. 188 hours idle. Okay. Therefore, within this 448 hours, idle hours how much? Idle means
180.
paid, but they didn't work. How many hours? Idle hours? 188 hours. Is it clear? Within overtime, concentrate, I'll give time. Huh? Within overtime hours, productive hours how much? What is mean by productive hours? To avoid these idle hours only we give bonus. You got my point? In your house, sometime you might ask someone to come and clean the house and housing work, right? Intentionally they delay. And after 5 they get the overtime also. Right? So to avoid that only we are giving bonus. But here they didn't give bonus, right? That's why this idle hours comes. So productive hours total overtime is 448 hours. Within this 188 hours what? Idle. 188 hours how much? What is that? Idle hours. So productive hours how much? 260 hours. Copy up to this point. Copy up to this point. Okay?
Sir, one down.
Yes.
So why do we have to minus the idle hour with the total and in the overtime hours?
Because overtime hours is total 448 hours. Entire 448 hours is not productive. Because within that idle hours is also there. So I am trying to find out productive hours only. Reason, idle hours treated as indirect cost. That you can't identify within the final output, right? Idle means. You got my point?
So we can't take it from the total hours.
Can you take?
But we won't get the same answer. Do we get the same answer? No, we don't.
What is the answer you get?
The total hours.
Okay, total hours. What is your answer that you get? See, I'll take like this. Okay, I'll come to your point. 6,528 hours, how much? Total hours. Minus 188 hours overtime. How much?
6,340.
6,340. Out of this, basic hours, how much? 6,080.
80.
Minus and get the value. 260. This is what? OT but productive hours. Now clear? Concentrate. I'll explain. Concentrate. I'll explain. Basic time. The first one, basic time. Direct or indirect? Direct. Very good. Overtime. Direct or indirect? Overtime basic is direct. Overtime premium is indirect. Okay. Idle hours, direct or indirect? Indirect. Is it clear? Understood? Right. Copy this. Now, just what I did was I took the information only out of the question. What I wrote, understood. Now, concentrate. Don't write. Concentrate. Direct labor. Direct labor. They ask direct labor cost. Now, I'll start with the direct labor cost. What is direct labor cost? First one is basic. The basic, right? Normal, no, standard rate basic, and what? Overtime basic. Both are direct, right? Standard time basic and overtime basic both are direct. Yes or no? Right. Standard time, how many hours? 6,080 hours. Yes or no? Yes or no? Overtime, how many hours? Overtime, how many hours? 448 includes idle time also. 448 include what? Idle time also, which is indirect. You can't take it. So how much? 260. Now you understood why I compute this. You got my point. So productive overtime. So overtime, here I am writing productive because it's include idle time. If we don't have idle time, I can take entire overtime. Because idle time is indirect. Understood? So how many hours? 260 hours. Yes or no? Understood? Understood? So total how many hours? 6,340 hours multiplied by basic rate is how much? 4. So what is the answer? What is the answer? 2 and 12? 360. Copy this. Copy this. Standard 6,880 hours. Productive overtime 260 hours. So the direct labor cost 6,340 hours into 4 equals 25,360. Now let's come to indirect labor. Copy this first. Concentrate. Method 2. There is another method also. Some students will come up with that method. Method 2. Basic payment. It's include standard and overtime. Okay. So standard how many hours? 6,000? 6,080. Overtime total hours how much? 448. From this you can minus what? Idle time. How much? 188. Then what is the hours? 5892 hours. Here 448 hours. Total how much? Total how much? 6340 hours. So 6,340 hours multiplied by 4 equals 25,360. Both methods you can use. Why? You did this way? First way? You did in the first way. Okay. Which one is easy? Both are same only. Copy. Copy. Both methods copy. Both methods copy. Because different thinking in management accounting. Different arguments and different thinking. Clear? Is it clear? Both methods understood? Right. Okay. Fine. With that, I'll stop. Indirect cost after break will start. What is the time now? So I'll start at 6:20. Take a break.